My conversation today on Behind the Act is with Carolina Rial. She's an artist and singer-songwriter. Today we're talking about how one of life's biggest skills might just be learning how to ask for what you want, while also not being afraid of getting no for an answer. And how she's driven to change people's lives with her music, especially young women. Now, I'm a 40-year-old man, and the first time I heard one of her songs, it brought me to tears, which we also talk about how that's rare for me, but I don't want that to be the case. I'm Seth Schaeffer. This is Behind the Act with Carolina Rial.
I was talking to you about this earlier, but I started in dance. So I was always surrounded by some form of music. And so I think I just grew up really shy. I was always very to myself, and and dance was a way of being able to express myself, but with a bunch of other girls in the room. So to be a solo artist was never even a thought, really. But I fell in love with singing more than anything.
Right.
So as I got older, I started to come out of my shell a little bit more, but it was also a thing of nobody else is going to do it for you. So if you really love to sing, then you have to just go for it. So I did. Music has helped me in so many times of my life, especially in that time when I was a younger, shy girl. It really has helped me open up. So I started singing at local places in the city. I was telling you I grew up in Jersey, but right next to New York City. I always joke about it, but I was definitely the only 14-year-old at a bar in New York at Saturday nights. My mom would take me because I wanted to do it and I just wanted my voice to be out there. So yeah, and then after that, I think the best part of the craft for me, my favorite part, has always been the performing. And I think it's because that's where it started for me. That love of music started there. So after I was performing more, I started to do my own original stuff. This was after I was on The Voice. I started picking up more of my original stuff, writing.
You say casually, by the way.
Yeah, I will get into that as well.
Okay,
whenever you...
Yeah,
should I just spill it all out? Yeah.
No, I mean...
No. After I was playing at local smaller places, I actually started to do the national anthem a lot, which I feel people, well, not people, but specific people in the music industry will be the national anthem, what does that help with? Actually, that took me out of my comfort zone way more than anything else because, yeah, I was playing at smaller bars and smaller spaces in the city, but as soon as you're singing the anthem, yeah, it's the same song over and over again, but you're singing at arenas and stadiums of I was 15 and I was singing at MetLife Stadium with 80,000 people. That takes you out of your comfort zone in so many ways.
Right.
So I feel doing anthems so much at a young age, I had no choice but to get out of my shell. But I loved it,
Yeah.
And performing and being an artist is such an interesting thing to me because I've always been somebody who loves to do it, but I don't love attention. I don't love going anywhere and everybody being oh, she's saying. I've never loved the attention part of it all, which is
So how do you balance that with social media?
Oh my God, it's such an ironic thing. I think it's just part of the job. You just have to put yourself out there, especially nowadays where everything is social media.
I'm so bad at it.
I mean,
Yeah. But you have to. You're right.
Kind of have to, yeah. As an artist, at least, because that's your branding, that's your marketing, that's literally all it is. We don't have labels doing it for us anymore. Really, we're doing it ourselves. But yeah, so going back, sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place sometimes.
Well, that's
when I
my
speak.
fault. I keep throwing it.
No,
Yeah.
please, literally anytime. Yeah, so after I did the anthem at different places and just kept like I started at smaller venues, started getting to bigger venues. I auditioned for The Voice. I was like 16, 17. I had always been a fan of the show. I had auditioned like a couple times in the past, virtually, and fun. But I think I just got a little bit tired of just doing the open calls and stuff. So for the one time that I wasn't gonna audition, I got a DM on Instagram asking if I wanted to audition for The Voice through a producer, and I was like, yeah, actually I will. But I wasn't planning on doing it that year. Also, it was like the midst of COVID. I didn't really know how everything was going to pan out. Nobody really did.
Right.
But I ended up getting on the show. I flew out there. I was 16. I turned 17, literally like a week before I did my blind audition. And The Voice for me, I think a lot of people after the show like to run away from it. I've never like claimed to like not be on it, because in a lot of ways, like The Voice, maybe because I was so young, but in a lot of ways, The Voice really shapes you as a performer. You have to be on it. You have to have like this song ready for this week. And if not, you're like literally going to get eliminated. So
Yeah.
it's very like cutthroat, but it like was almost like boot camp, I feel. Like you had to get it all together. And I also at that age was seeing like a glimpse of reality TV, how like interviews work, how media works, how just like TV in general works. So yeah, after the show, I got eliminated like the first live rounds, so I was all right. But after that, I never wanted to be like, I never wanted to just like go back to do the same thing I was doing before, which sounds like it sounds so like rude, but I never wanted to go back and do what I was doing before. Like I wanted
Meaning
to
the anthems and stuff, you mean? Or?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I love anthems, but
Okay.
like
Still.
I think I think like we were given this platform on the show, and it's like, how do you keep going from there? Like you're so up here on the show, you have like everything, national TV is watching you, and then like how do you keep going from there? So I think my goal was always just to keep going, and I really pushed for it on social media, which is like the ironic part of it all. But I kept posting videos of myself singing, and that was getting some traction. But it wasn't until I started posting my original music that people really started to, I guess, view me also more as like an artist and not just like people that sing covers, which I love. I've sung covers all my life, and I will till the day I die because I love it. But it's also really nice for people to recognize you as like the singer of songs that were written by myself.
Yeah. You said you typically co-write with another person,
I
right?
typically co-write with my friend Anna Klein. I started working with her and a producer that I work with all the time. He's out of Brooklyn. His name is Zach Golden. I started working with them like maybe a year and a half ago now, on Zoom. Anna lives in Kentucky and Zach is nearby, but still in Brooklyn. And we like work on Zoom, and I feel like when you find your people, you find your people. And it's not to say that like you shouldn't work with other people too. It's just like when you find what works, stick to it and keep that little village together.
What motivates your songs? I mean, I usually don't hear lyrics, but when I listen to your songs, I hear them, and then they definitely touched me because there's like a nostalgia component to like childhood and like that protection of the kid kind of theme. Like, so where does that come from on your end?
That comes from, it circles back, I think, to when I was younger. I never heard music like that, where the writing was really about like mental health and your inner child. And, there's a way to go about it without being like corny, I guess. So
Yeah.
that was always like, well, actually, it's interesting because I started like not doing that because I started when I was like 14. I would be in rooms with older people that would just, we'd write about like their experience. And I didn't have much experience at the time. And I still really like don't because I'm only 20. There's like so much life to live.
Right.
But one thing I did know for sure was like this universal feeling that we all have of like just dealing with our mental health, healing our inner child.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think also working with like Anna and Zach, we were diving into that, and then it starts to open up into a bigger conversation. And actually, I think, well, no, I know like a very big part of my audience are women, and we all relate to the same things. No offense, but stuff that guys will never understand.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I get angry every time I think about the idea of makeup, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
because I think it's so unfair for that to be a requirement, quote unquote, in some form.
So there's like a relatableness of it, I feel, like within the little community that I've built. Or not even me, just people that have like supported me.
Yeah.
Actually, yesterday I was at Millennium Dance Complex here in Nashville. They were dancing to my new song. And I was saying like social media is such an interesting thing because we like live in that world now, and people can comment and people could say whatever about how much they love your song, but there's nothing like hearing it in person. Like yesterday, this class was really like younger girls, and I had never witnessed that in person. I think after the class, well, during the class, there was like one girl who did a little solo to the song, and she like broke down at the end, and I was like, wow, like it was like a moment where you were like to my song. And then after that, she came up to me and was like, for the past year, I haven't felt anything. And she was like, this was the first time in like a year that I felt something. And she was like, so thank you. And it made me so emotional because it was almost like I couldn't believe it that like music that I write in my home and record from my bedroom.
Right.
Like, we'll get out on social media, but it's not until you like hear it in person where you're like, that's why I do it.
And see it actually move someone.
Yeah,
right in front of you.
It's like literally why I do it.
I'm going to just mention really quickly, me saying that I get angry about the makeup thing is not me trying to tell you that I know how
no, I got
just
you.
to be
I
clear,
got
right?
you. Yeah.
I'm not like,
makeup
no, I
is
understand.
incredible. Listen, makeup's incredible. I do my makeup every day because I love it.
Right.
And because I love to feel fancy.
But explaining, though, I guess for people that haven't heard it, though, that I heard a snippet of a song that you're speaking to a younger version of yourself, right?
So my newest song is called All Natural. It's really all about like, I think also we live in a time where for women it's like, wear makeup, look, really dolled up and cute. But the second that you do that, there's somebody else that's like, but like natural beauty is better. And it's like, at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to try to like, well, it's like, that's the tagline of the song. Like at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to try so hard to be all natural because the way that we are is fine. And like going back to like the makeup topic, like, like I love makeup because you could wear it or you don't have to, but it's like the fact that it's almost like a requirement for women. It's like expected that you're wearing makeup.
Yeah.
And it's like, who cares? Wear it if you want, wear it if you don't want. Or sorry, wear it if you want. If you don't want to, don't wear it. That's what All Natural's about. It's also about like, just like not having to change who you are to fit this mold of like, I think we're like slowly changing as a society, but it's like there's still that like one specific image of what beauty is.
Right.
And I think also part of my music is to really try to defy that, to, show that their beauty comes in all shapes and sizes and all different looks, all different skin tones. And yeah, if like from yesterday, that experience, if I could touch one girl, like that's all I need for now.
Yeah, that's amazing. What advice would you have for men to better advocate for that? I have 2 young boys, just for context. They're 9 and 11 right now. And I myself, am ignorant in the places that I don't know I'm ignorant, so.
No, but I think for guys, it's like, don't have an expectation. What you see on TV is not real.
Right.
What you see a perfect woman is on a billboard is not real. So don't have expectations.
Right.
Yeah, we're not going to wake up and look like freaking like Bella Hadid.
Right.
Nobody's going to wake up looking like that naturally, at least.
Right, yeah.
And that's fine because I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
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 Oh, also to add, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're okay.
I was also going to add that there's always change in a woman also. If you've known them for a while, obviously after you have children, you change. When you grow up, you change. So don't expect somebody to look specifically the way that they've always looked at like 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. No, absolutely. That makes sense. When I have people that are working for me, I feel like there's this funny balance of like, if I step in as a man in a scenario to like defend, sometimes I feel like I'm taking the power away from, or the potential power away from the woman, instead of advocating for them to go defend or like speak up for themselves, or I don't know if that makes sense.
I got what you mean. I think like it's so hard because we live in such a time where it's like sometimes the girl really doesn't have the voice in a situation, which like sucks because you could try to defend yourself, but it's almost like you just like can't. So I think a guy stepping in to like defend, honestly, I love it because it like shows that you care about, and you're not just like being somebody else who's just like, you're not like on team like against her. So I feel like stepping in to defend is always good, but like also like giving the woman like a chance to defend herself. I think that's the difference. It's like jumping in right away, like kind of almost seems like she can't do it, so let me just jump. But like also give her a minute, right?
Yeah.
So like, because there are women out there who could defend themselves like easily.
Yeah. Growing up, my younger sister was a fighter, and I was always so nice as an older brother, like not having to worry about it.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I always wanted to, of course, defend her, but I didn't have to. But
she had to defend you.
yeah, exactly. And she would
that,
and could.
I love that. Yeah.
Where do you want to go? Like, what is your big dream? If you put no constraints on it.
No constraints.
Of quote unquote reality, right?
I think like that's like always the toughest question. It really is. And I think it's easy to just be like, well, I want to be famous and I want to grow up and tour the world. And like, yeah, obviously that would be amazing. Like as an artist, that's like what you want your job to be eventually. And yeah, I guess like that's a big goal of mine. But I think I just like I don't want to sound like corny, but I just like I really want to touch people. And like the more people I'm able to touch, the better. And then from there could come the tours. From there could come the I don't know, bigger selling out arenas. Like love it. But I think because I came from a background of so much performance and like I've not like headlining, obviously, but I've sung at arenas, I've sung at stadiums, and I've seen it, and it's amazing because that's like what I love. But nothing compares to like being able to write your own music and have that reach people and people to like support you because of the music that you've created, but also like people knowing you as the singer of those songs. Yep.
I just want to point out, you just said not headlining, obviously. That could age quickly. You know, I mean, you have this drive and this grit. You're unafraid to reach out and be, persistent and find what connect with who you want to. And that's going to take you very far, very quickly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where does that come from?
That comes from, I think it's always been a mindset of like, and it really like depends on the person, but for me, it's always been like, I have to do it myself. Everything I've done up to this point, like my mom's in the room, she's obviously supported me like with everything, and so has my family. But when it comes to like reaching out and looking for opportunities and like creating your own sound, like that's been myself. Like at age like 15, I was like shooting out emails to anybody I could, and it's always been like a mindset of like, nobody's going to do it for me because there's like a bunch of artists out there. Like what sets you apart? And I think what sets artists apart that do, become successful is that drive, because it's easy to just like give up. It's so easy to give up and just be like, it's done. For me, it's always been like, especially now at this point, it's like, I've already come this far. Like, why would I stop now? Like, yeah, it's not an easy route to go down. And as I age, I'm like 20, but like as I get older, reality hits you more. Like I'm 20, I'm going to be 21 in October, 22, 23. Obviously reality hits you, but it's like, I wouldn't want to do anything else. I would like hate myself if I did anything else, because you work so hard up until this point, and it's like, why would you stop now?
Right.
Like, and it's also a thing of like, you never know what's gonna happen. Send the email, shoot the DM. I mean, we're like sitting here because I DM'd you. So,
right. Yeah,
like
twice because I missed the first one.
Well, I didn't know which one to send it to, but
smart.
like send it to both.
But you also did, right? I mean, yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong. What are you gonna lose?
Talk about that, and because so many people are afraid of a no.
Yeah.
And they're afraid that like they're not going to get it if they reach out. And it's like, well, you don't have it because you haven't reached out.
Right. And it's like, as an artist, anybody who wants to be an artist, you have to be more okay with a no than with a yes. Like you almost have to like expect it. Be like, okay, well, I'm going to send this, but it might be a no. That's fine. But like, send it.
Right.
People get so stuck because they're so afraid of like rejection. And it's like, this whole career is rejection. You get so many no's, so many, and then you get like a yes. And that like opens up another door with another yes. So yeah, I think I've just always, I don't know, maybe it's just in my blood, but I've always just never been afraid, because like literally what's the worst that's gonna happen? You're gonna get a no. Okay, so keep going. There's other spots, and I always think everything happens for a reason. That's like my motto. You get told no's because you're not meant to do that, at least not right now. And you never know like what will happen down the line. You never know. There's like a right time and place, I feel.
I love it. I think that's an incredible skill, and I'm glad that that's well rehearsed on you. And it's easy to say that. I think people understand the concept, but it's also easy to not continue to follow up. Like if you don't reach out, no one even knew that you wanted it.
Yeah.
So you're safe.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
in reality you're like you're not safe because you're not chasing your dreams and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like chasing your dream is literally that. Like not being afraid of rejection, just like reaching out, shooting your shot. Like we live in such a time where I keep saying it, but it's so true. Like we live in such a time where social media is everything, being online is everything. Then use that to your fullest advantage and like connect with people online. You know, meet people. It's like so blunt, but like that's what it is. Meeting people.
You were just saying that you had like a big dance crew at a facility, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And you're, and this all came from this other thing that like you dreamt up, you made from nothing, right? Like, I mean, I feel like you were kind of like hinting at that earlier. What did it feel like to see? I mean, is this the first time you've like seen a dance crew behind that song, or is it? I guess for
No.
that song, but yeah.
Actually, this is like my third time seeing like a dance crew dance to my stuff. But I've always been a fan of like different forms of art coming together. I think it's so cool. I felt like this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like almost a little bit numb when I first see it because I'm like, it's almost like an unbelievable thing to see that like people you've never met before, dancers that probably don't even know you, now dance to your song and like have this connection to it. And then after the numbness goes away, I get really emotional because it's like, I don't know. I like it's interesting because I didn't start doing this like with that drive lyrically, but now I'm doing it and it's like, now I know why I'm doing it. It's almost goes back to that, like everything happens for a reason. Like, you know, I was put in these rooms when I was like 14, 15, writing with these people for a reason, because now I could write about stuff that I can relate to, and clearly now other people can relate to as well.
What else drives you? Like when you wake up in the morning, you've got art, but then what else?
I think the people who've supported me for so long. I mean, everybody says it, but it's like support really means everything. Thankfully, I've always had a family that supports me. I know that's not the case for everybody, but thankfully I do have that. But like, even aside from my family, like there's people who've, you know, been with me on social media for a while, people who've still stuck around since The Voice, people who I've met in person that have now become supporters. Like those people, it's almost like I never want to let the community that I've built up until now down.
Right.
Because there really are people out there that are rooting for you. And it's like, I don't know, I can't let myself down, but like forget me, I just can't let them down.
Right.
Yeah.
I've talked about this a few times on my on the show, but I am not good at being a fan. Like I'm not good at like knowing like the, you know, how long this person was in this band and like any of the stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't even know lyrics to most things. But I do want to advocate for people that, especially people that I know.
Yeah.
And their art.
That's like support.
How do you advocate for other people?
Just like by rooting for them, like their stuff, comment, share it, tell them in person how awesome it is. I feel like also from artist to artist, it's so easy to be petty and like, no, I'm not going to tell them I like their stuff. Like, but like, I don't have an ego like that. Just like tell them that you love it, support it. You know how much that goes? That goes such a long way, a long way for you to make something independently and then like somebody else tell you, like, especially in person, like, you know, I really, really loved that song that you did and I felt it. That goes like, I'll remember that forever. I'll remember that forever. I'll remember comments and stuff and on Instagram, but I'll never forget an in-person interaction like that. Because it means so much when you work so hard to do something that you've created on your own, really. But like, I don't know, the word like fan, I've never really used it. I always describe people as supporters that support my stuff. I don't know. I think fan is like, it's like, I don't know.
Objectifying kind of or
Yeah, I
something.
can't even describe it. Like, fan is like, I'm Ariana Grande. Like, these are my fans. No. Like, these are people that support me.
Right.
Yeah. But I love it. My supporters. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What else would you want to say to like if you were advocating for younger women that are ready, like that are coming up in the industry and maybe afraid, and maybe with fewer resources, and like how do you push as an artist without being taken advantage of?
That's a very, very good question. I would say there's a line between like putting yourself out there and then like just respecting yourself. Because there are like, especially girls that will go the extra mile to do stuff that's like not even right just to get something. There's a line. It's like self-respect.
Yeah.
It's believing in yourself. But don't cross that line to where you're doing stuff that like is just not right. Like there has to be a moment where you're like, this is not okay. Like it's not worth it to do that.
Right.
I would say, of course, reach out to people, put yourself out there. When you don't know many people, you'll be surprised how you'll know people like that in like a week if you start reaching out.
Right.
From there, I would say find a community of people that support you but also respect you, because it's such a male-dominated industry. Like it's so easy to be in rooms with people that just disrespect you from the start. Don't be afraid to be called the B word. I don't care. At least I like know what I want, and
Yeah.
I don't care. You have to like go in and know what you want, but like love it also at the same time. Like don't forget why. That's my big thing. Like don't forget why you started.
Right.
Never forget that.
That's something that my wife points out accurately, I think, is that, women that are strong and courageous get called the B word.
Yeah.
And men that act the exact same way are
Yeah.
just confident. Or,
Yeah.
it's like...
And that's what angers me so much about it. It's like, no. Like, I mean, I don't want to get like torn to pieces, but I wouldn't call myself like a big like Swiftie, but I respect Taylor Swift because like she's been called that over and over again. She's like fighting with so many men, and it's like, but she's still doing it, and she's like up there.
Yep. Some of her business calls I freaking love. It's just so gangster.
Like
it's just like she's like, no.
right.
I'm in charge,
like,
and I'm not.
you just have to like defend yourself, really, and don't be afraid. You want to call me that, call me that. I don't care.
Yeah.
But like I'm going to defend myself.
Yeah.
And the people with like the right mindset will never call you that because they know that you're like fighting for yourself. And yeah, I think
So-
we have a lot of work to do there as a society. Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
You talked about your people and then your mom, who is like you say here, as an advocate. How do you balance the self-championship that you're good at, that you need to be able to champion and be an artist, and with the like making sure that your people have your back? And I'm thinking about this from a perspective of advice to other people, and especially younger people, especially younger women, right? Like working in the industry. Like, how do you get people around you that you can trust, that you can, so that you have then a safe way to go push out,
I think it's really like being very aware of like who's on your team and who's like trying to take advantage of you. You could almost tell from the start when you meet somebody like who's actually rooting for you or who's just like trying to get something from you. So I think it's going to sound so wrong, but like be picky with who you surround yourself with. You surround yourself with people who root for you, and you could see how far that'll take you. Don't like, I think I'm always prioritizing quality over quantity. Like, you don't need to have like a team of like 25 people. You don't. As long as you have like one person even that's in your corner, that's all you need.
Yeah.
I have a very small group of friends, well, my family is big, but you know, I talk with my direct family all the time. I have a very small group of creatives. When it's almost like when the group gets too big, it's like everything gets a little lost. And going back to that whole thing of like, how do you like be this like champion for yourself, but also like remain a little bit more grounded also. I always say humility. I think like it's so easy to get into this business and like think you're Madonna like 2 seconds in. But like we all start from somewhere. And I think that's what really sets apart like an artist as a human being and like an artist as like a product. It's like the artists as human beings are those who are like humble and will remain grounded, and like, you know, there's a difference between that and somebody who isn't that. And it's almost like that's just like a product, you know? Like people who are humble and remain down to earth, those are the artists that people can relate with. And those are like the best artists out there.
Right.
The people that you want to listen to because you have like a connection to them, even if you don't know them.
I think it's interesting when you are in a position where you're reaching out and you're expecting no's, right? So, but you're also like presenting that you're like hungry, but but then you also have to be discerning about whether or not this is a good deal or you're about to be taken advantage of, right? In any way.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with sales, I think, in different ways. Like you're like,
with any business, really.
totally,
Yeah.
And that's something coming from the film side of run into less than ethical people in the music industry, just dealing with us like doing music videos or something, you know. And so like I kind of knew like the industry is not always on the up and up in the way that they treat people.
The minute somebody doesn't care for you as a human being, like run, find other people to work with. There's many people in this industry, people who don't care about you. Yeah. Like there's so many people out there who just don't give a crap that this person is like a human being.
Yeah.
And they'll order you to work and like write this song and do this, and they'll treat you like SHIT. Like, you know, they won't care. But the minute that you find somebody like that, run and find somebody else because like it's not worth it.
So you present yourself as very not afraid. What are you afraid of?
That is a very good question. What am I afraid of? I think, well, I do present myself as being very, like, resilient. There obviously is always that little voice in the back of the head that's, like slightly scared of rejection. But, like, I think the more you... Yeah, I think the more you do it, you're, like, you don't care and you just keep going. But I think as an artist, we're always going to have that little bit of like, should I do it? I guess that like nervousness to like, go ahead and do it. I do it either way because I'm like, at this point, it's like, just do it. But what am I afraid of? That's a good, actually, that's like crazy that you're asking me that because I think a couple years ago, I would have told you something else, but I think growth is a thing. And here I am, and I don't know.
The vulnerability of your lyrics makes me feel like there's maybe just a reconciliation with the loss of the past or something. I don't know what it is, but
maybe I think I am a little bit afraid of that. Like, you never want to lose who you were as a person like a year ago, 2 years ago. You never want to lose like your why. And I feel like I'll never lose my why. But it's also a business where it's so it's so common to like lose yourself so quickly. But I guess I am a little bit afraid of that. The more people you surround yourself with, the more people you know, the more you start to lose yourself. But I feel like I've always come back to the why and been like, why'd you like start doing this in the first place?
So what is your why now?
My why now?
Now at 20, yeah.
My why now has changed a lot. It used to be like, because I love it. And like, it is still now because I love it. But now there's like a community of people that like my music because of the lyrics. And now it's like my why is for the people that support me, especially the young girls. Nothing for me compares to seeing like young women, young girls relate to my stuff. I've seen it on TikTok, social media. I've seen it on social media, but seeing it in person goes a very long way. Yeah, and for somebody to tell you like, I haven't felt anything in a whole year, but I felt something today because of your song, like, that's the why. Like, no question about it. It's definitely not for money. It's definitely not for fame. It's for that. And like, if it's not for that, then like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
You could make like any type of music, but if it's not for like the people that support you, like, then why? Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you write a number one song?
Oh my God.
just
Well,
teasing.
I wouldn't know
I know, I'm
because
just teasing.
I'm not a number. How do you write a good song?
Yeah.
It's definitely, it's definitely not to have experience about it, about the situation.
Sorry, explain that.
Yeah.
You're saying you don't have to have had experience with the situation?
No,
Or, yeah.
I think you have to have a little bit of relatableness to it. But like one of my biggest songs is called Invisible Battles. And that's not really about me. It's really written of the perspective. Sorry, sometimes after a while.
Yeah.
It's really written about the perspective of like other people. I'm like writing this story. For me, at least, good writing comes from storytelling. I think it should be though. I feel like especially here in Nashville, it's very like story based.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the best part of it all, because when you tell a story, you move somebody, and that makes a really great song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the song I think I was referring to when I told you.
Yeah.
I was like, I cried. And then last time I had cried before that was a Nickel Creek song that just like moved me sonically. I don't know what the lyrics are in it, but I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't happen often. And I want it to. Like, I like to get, oh my gosh, I watch The Voice and I cry every time. It's funny. Like
The Voice?
Uh-huh. Or any of those where, like, they're advocating for people, especially some people where they're like, they're not going to make it.
Yeah.
But the crowd is championing them.
Yeah.
Like, because this is the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know? Like, there's just something
And like
about
the
it that,
parents
like, oh my
backstage.
God.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. I'm like, manipulate me,
Yeah.
please. Like, I know what they're doing, but.
I know,
yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
it's like I get very emotional with any musician that I see on stage. Like with that, even though we know like it's manipulative, but the person singing like has a dream. We all have.
Yeah.
That's the thing about like musicians and artists. Like I have such a soft spot for all of us because we all start with like a dream. Like some of us have it much better when we're born into a world where we have everything, but it's like we all have a dream and we all started from somewhere. The first time that it really hit me, I just sang in February with Andrea Bocelli at his concert in the DR. It was the wildest thing ever. But I will say, like, I think it was during sound check. We were backstage and I was about to go and like rehearse. And you see like all of these musicians just like playing in the orchestra. I've never sung live like that with an orchestra before. This huge orchestra. And like, it really moved me because you look at every single one of them and you're like, anybody else is just like, oh, that's just an orchestra. I'm looking at them as like, these are like kids that once had a dream and now they're like playing with Andrea Bocelli.
Yep.
Even if they're like the third violin in the orchestra.
And
That's
75 years old, they're
special.
still a kid that like
Right.
has a dream. Yeah.
That's so special.
Yeah.
And like, I think that was the first time that I was like, wow, like that really moved me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So talking about my desire to cry more, I'm just kidding. but truthfully, this came up in a recent conversation also, but just about how as we get older, it's easy to get jaded and get less happy and less attached to the innocence of being a kid and being in love with that. So as you're getting older as well, like what are you identifying as ways to advocate for your younger women audience to keep the wonder and to not have
not lose that spark.
Yeah.
I think
Like I want to learn, so I'm asking.
I think really like, although like my work is very like heart-wrenching and very like, very realistic, it's always like, it's never too serious. Like have fun with it. Like genuinely, even if you're singing like the saddest song on planet Earth, like don't get too like, I think the minute that we get like fixated on like every little thing, every little bit, that's when you lose the spark. It's like, and I've seen it even with just like writing a song, like starting to write the song and I'm so excited. And then like halfway through the song, I'm getting like nitpicky with like one line and it's like, why? Just let the line go and let the song live. Like nobody's gonna care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the minute that we get like too perfectionist, I guess, is the minute that the spark starts to fade. I think I keep saying it, but it's also like remind yourself why you started. Whenever I like am about to step on stage for a performance and I get like super nervous and I'm like, I don't want to do it. Like I'm nervous. I'm like, hello, you 2 years ago would be like throwing up at the fact that you're like about to step on stage and sing this. Like, remind yourself of that, of like how far you wanted to go and then you're finally there and it's like, why are you like complaining? Like, just go and do it. Yeah. Don't lose that spark.
I think remembering that every one of us as artists started off with the concept of it being play, and then you turn it into a profession.
Yeah. That's the power of it. That's the power that we have within ourselves that a lot of us don't realize at first. We all have the power to turn this like little pretend thing that we have in our head. We have the power to turn that into like, first, something realistic, but also like this huge dream come true.
Yeah.
And like we could all do it. I think that's also like going back to that whole thing of being afraid of rejection and being afraid of things not happening. Like, who said that? Like, you could do it. Anybody could do it.
Do you have other creative outlets that you do outside of music? I'm going to say yet.
Actually, I mean, it's just so hard because I've like, and by choice, I've like wrapped myself in music because it fulfills me so much. But that's not the case. Everybody's different. I think some people will like find side hobbies to, distract them a little bit when they need it, a little outlet. But I'm just so wrapped up in music that barely. I mean, I play piano. It's still music related, but aside from like being the artist.
Or like I think that the covers you were talking about, that also seems like play to me. Like it's not like you're not like songwriting to build your artist profile. You're being playful and having fun.
When I'm able to just like play and like sit down and just like play a song on the piano because I want to, and not because like there's a camera on me or because I'm like recording this for my project. Like, or when I'm in my room and I could just like sing a song, like sing a cover and like not have to get anything perfect. That's like an outlet for me.
Yeah.
I think aside from that, obviously also just like trying to be a normal 20-year-old and like seeing people that I know and hanging out with friends and like people I grew up with. Like a majority of my circle are people that I like grew up with since I was little. So
Right.
getting to like touch grass a little bit with them first and then go back to do whatever I'm doing.
I love
That's
that my
also-
11-year-old had to tell me what touch grass means. So
Well, I think it's like you go back to your roots for a second, right?
I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought he meant it.
I'm pretty
or
sure that's
I
what
think
it
he
means.
communicated that it was like, just get outside because he was attaching it to the video game world.
Well,
and
I
like,
say
you know,
that too
but I
because
don't
it's
know.
like I say that in like a little bit of a funny way too because like I was just in LA and like LA is cool. I'm from New York, New Jersey. Like I can't move out. Well, if I need to one day, but I can't do it. It's just not for me. And
Yeah.
so when I'm in LA, I'm like, I need to go home and like touch grass in New York or something.
Right.
And people are like, okay.
Is there grass in New York? No, I'm just kidding.
No, my version of touch grass is like smell freaking smoke in the air in New York.
Yeah, totally. That's
Yeah.
so funny. I love it.
I needed to go back, but yeah.
That's amazing. What's your favorite thing about being in New York?
The people, the realness, and the hustle. Like, there's really no place like it where people are hustling every single day. I know so many like artists in New York that have many side hustles and they're like literally putting themselves through so much work just to like achieve that dream. That's the thing about artists for me that I respect so much is like we'll work countless hours,
Yeah.
try to make some money, get like made fun of in person and on the internet for even trying, but like we'll still wake up and do it again
Yep.
each day and we're going to try harder.
How do you see Nashville compared to that?
Not like LA.
No, I know.
Nashville, I see the hustle here too.
Yeah.
I do like Nashville. I really
Yeah.
do. Because the people here are so kind. And there's still that hustle. There's still people that move out here and try to make it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It feels more chill to me than New York, though,
It's
for sure. Like
way
it's like,
more. It's way more. I think it's way more chill here. Less like cutthroat. Like you go to New York and it's like, boom, boom, boom.
yeah.
Like show me what you got.
We were on a road trip about to order some to go, and they, they pick up it's like a nice restaurant. They pick up the phone and they say, "What do you want?"
In New York.
And it dawned on me. I was like, "What a brilliant question!"
New
Because it
York.
literally meant, "What do you want to order?"
Like let's get to
Like,
the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Like,
And
why
I-
do I say hello? How's your day going? Because you don't care, and I don't care. Like, I was like, I love it.
Right.
Like,
It's actually like
like the kindest way to communicate.
yeah, that was actually very kind of them. I feel like yeah, maybe I'm just like used to it because I grew up going there, but I feel like it's very much like let's get to the point and let's work. But they still care about you.
Yeah.
I feel like not to be rude with LA, but I feel like LA it's like let's get to the point. Maybe let me take advantage of you and then like let's just not talk again. New York they care about you
Yeah.
in like the toughest way.
Right.
But I love it. Here they care about you in every way. They'll show kindness to you at the beginning.
Yeah. That's been my experience here too. I mean,
Yeah, I
obviously
love
there's
it.
plenty of people that don't
Yeah.
follow through and don't whatever.
Yeah,
but,
and like that's normal.
well, and I'm guilty of that myself with different things, of course. But yeah.
But like nobody there's people that'll try to take advantage of you everywhere you go.
Right.
But there's definitely less of it here and in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's just the directness in New York. Maybe that's why I'm so not afraid to like reach out.
I was thinking about that. I was like, there's so many
Maybe.
people
Yeah.
around you, and they're so direct, and you're used to candor,
Mm-hmm.
which is, to me, the kindest way to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's very
interesting.
true. Yeah.
I have an unrelated question for you. Give me advice on genres.
On genres.
Yeah, on genres. Because I haven't released music for a long time, well, for many reasons, and I'm about to.
Okay.
But my collection of songs are just so diverse, and I'm not apologizing about it, and I'm not afraid of it. But
They're so
what's your
diverse.
perspective? Yeah, like just completely left. I'll play you some samples, but
No,
like
I would love to.
completely different genres in every way. But what's your perception of the importance of a genre being attached to an artist? Or
I think nowadays it's not that important. Like, for a while, it's always been like, and it still kind of is, like, find your sound, stick to it, like that, characterizes you as an artist. And, like, yeah, it really is. But being diverse is such a skill to have. Being able to do a variety of genres is such a plus because some people just, like, conform and they're, like, fine with sticking to one thing. I would say there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, like, at the beginning, like, I guess, like, I don't know, don't, like, wear 3 different wigs and, like, different, don't, like, change yourself, I guess. But music-wise, why not?
yeah, do you feel like you have to steer what comes out of your soul when you first write a song into a genre to match what you've done? Or do you feel like what you write just flows that direction already?
I think that naturally, I've been blessed that, like, naturally what I write, I feel like is something that, like, already has kind of gone with what I've done. I will say, though, like, I've always been a very big ballad girl, and it's, like, what I grew up singing. I only ever covered ballads. In my music, I love ballads. But, like, I'm also excited to, like, do some upbeat stuff. Like, I was just in LA working on a few songs, and they're all upbeat, and it's, like, they all have that, like, message, that same, like, I hate to say it, but, like, that same, like, branding, I guess. That same message of, like, empowerment and, like, healing and, like, just, like, being your own cheerleader, that I'm very excited to get out because I'm young. I want to have a little fun.
That's awesome.
Not be, like, crazy, but
This is your new rap album, right? You said?
yeah, actually, it's a trap album. It's a hip hop album. Yeah. Yeah, like, I'm excited to dive into that a little bit. And who knows? Maybe people might hate it, but I love it.
That's
I really
awesome.
do.
What do you want in a perfect world for people to say about you when you're not in the room?
What I'm afraid of is, like, people talking about me, I guess. Just that I'm, like, sounds, like, so cliche, but just that, like, I'm a nice person. That I'm nice and, like, grounded and not, like, an airhead, And that I'm, like, I hate talking about myself, but that I'm, like, intelligent in what I do. Because I think it's so easy, especially for a guy, to be like, oh, she's just, like, this dumb girl. Like, no, I have drive, I have direction, I have, like, I want people to just be like, she's, like, young, but she has, like, a head on her shoulders and a brain.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of being misunderstood?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think, yeah.
yeah.
I never want to be misunderstood in, like, a bad way. Because there's so much work that's put into it, into the lyrics, into what I write, into what I do. That I never want people to, like, take it in another way. And especially when it's, like, serious topics that I write about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think also you've, communicated well, and correct me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but, like, you have extra work because of our societal breakdown, like, to do in order to, like, be seen as that, even though you're fighting harder than most, right?
No, it is. And, like, nobody, like, looks at me and it's like, ooh, I'm scared of her. Like, so I have work to do. Not in the fact that I, sorry, that was very wrongly phrased.
No.
Not in the fact that I want to like scare anybody, but in the fact that I want to make a point, you know,
Yeah.
with the
I want
music.
people to like me and say I'm nice, but be scared of me.
No, I want people to like just, you know, I want to make music that makes a point and not like people just being like, that's so dumb. No.
Yeah.
Like I want people to actually relate to it and like actually get it.
Are you more of a hopeful person or a nihilist looking forward?
Hopeful.
Yeah.
Definitely optimistic. I think being from New York, New Jersey, it's easy to not be that. But I've always been very optimistic. I've always been like it's, you can't ever dream too big. You really can't. You can't. Like, I have like manifested like 99% of what I've done. You think of something and it's like, I always think of something and then I start from up there and I'm like, how do I make that happen? I think it's easy just to be like, well, that'll never happen. So,
So what is it about the fabric or the nature of society and the world that makes you excited about the future?
I don't know. I guess there's just like, there's no limit, you know? And I think for myself, because I'm so young, like, I'm just like so curious. I'm curious to see like what's to come. I'm curious to see like when I see like this big thing that I want to achieve, I'm more than anything curious as to like what can happen if I do get there, or like when I do get there, like what's going to happen from there? Who will I, you know, connect with from there? It's always like a curiosity game, I feel. But it's like also fun because it's like you want to go after this because you like believe in yourself. And I think that belief in yourself will take you really far.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
I would say to not be afraid to just like get out of your shell earlier. I think it took me a little while because I was like, I don't know. I think more than anything, I was like scared of what people would think of me. But once you're like cringe on the internet one time, doesn't matter. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
such a
think
hard
that's
one.
something with internet. Like people are afraid to be like cringy and they don't want to post themselves. And it's like, I've been cringe before. I'm not afraid.
Just be intentionally cringe.
I'm not afraid.
Right?
Like, cringe is like, people use that word like it's nothing. Like promoting your stuff on social media is not cringe. That's like,
No.
like good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of the channel Inspired to Write?
No, I don't think so.
I follow her on Instagram. Anyway, amazing, healthy content about that. Just
Yeah.
like, be whatever you need. Do the
Post it.
cringe thing if it's that, you know, it's just
Right.
like, yeah. Like,
that
get
goes
out
back
there.
to the whole thing of like
Yeah.
being afraid to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And
Like
the whole
advocate for your art. Sorry, interrupt.
yeah. Advocate for your art, advocate for yourself as an artist. Like, because at first, when you don't have a team, when you don't have people helping you, you're doing it on your own. And like, that also ties to the fact that like, you shouldn't be afraid of what people think of you. Because that's art,
It's
you know?
so hard though. I mean, it really
Yeah.
is. But
That's art. Like, people are going to like it and people aren't going to like it. But
Yeah.
how would you know if you don't put
Right.
yourself out there?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow up a little bit and learn how to not be afraid of what people say about me, you know?
Just gotta like it's so easy to be like, you just like don't have to care.
Yeah.
But like truly, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, and if they do talk bad about you, then like great, because now I know who not to surround myself with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. If there was one thing that you wanted people to remember from this conversation or know about you, what do you want to say?
This ties back to what I was saying about being humble and like remaining grounded. I think that if there's anything I could tell somebody from this podcast, it would be that remaining grounded will take you a very long way. While it is very important to put yourself out there and keep your drive going, it's also easy to get ahead of yourself in the way where you like drop everything that you've had in the past and you forget about what you had in the past. Don't ever forget where you come from, where you started. That's like the core of it all. That's the most important part. And if you have that combined with drive, you're unstoppable.
Where do people find you and how do they support you?
People could find me on Instagram. It's Carolina Rial Music. On YouTube, it's Carolina Rial. Facebook, it's also Carolina Rial Music. TikTok, it's Carolina Rial.
That must be your name.
Yeah, actually, I think it's my name.
Yeah.
It's really either Carolina Rial or Carolina Rial Music. So
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing with other people you think might gain value from it. My name is Seth Schaeffer. This is Behind the Act.